I was a little bit more adventurous, we'll say, and I like to move from country out. You grab a couple of people, and everybody goes to the bars that are
Hello,
around.
everyone. Welcome to Career Globalization with Winnie. I'm so excited now because today's guest has such a fascinating experience. He works in different regions, countries. So let's walk into his story. Hi, Willie.
Hi, hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
To give you a little bit of background, when you say I worked in a lot of different countries, so over the year, especially when I was a little bit younger, I was a little bit more adventurous, we'll say, and I like to move from country to country. For me, it was a fascinating experience to go in a new culture and meet new people and all that. So uh, initially, I think overall I worked when I just went out of high school. I worked for just a few weeks, like a summer in England. Then I spent some time, some long-term work slash internship in mainland China and Hong Kong. And then when my college degree was finished, I worked for a couple of years in Singapore. Then I've been now in the US for about 10 years. So I tried to do a little bit of every continent to make sure, that I would experience the life there. In terms of, I've always been in more or less in banking,
Mhm.
except my experience in China, that was really had nothing to do with it. I was buying toys, basically. It was like a French toy company that was producing in China and shipping to France. So that was my real first experience work wise. But I would say for almost all experience abroad that I had, the main thing that I did was, as like I mentioned, my main interest was to visit new culture and all that. So I wouldn't wait for the job. I would say every time it was more like a conscious decision of like, hey, that country looks cool. Let's go see it. And
Cool.
then going there and trying to finding a job would have been like the second step, kind of.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, people like me, like I'm not that adventurous. Like I want to come to like US. I know like okay, I need to find a job first, otherwise like I cannot leave my home country. So yeah, I that's really cool. Like you're so adventurous, and then more importantly that you did get a job, and then you get to like live in that country or region, experience what you plan to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, you need to, like I say, maybe nowadays I'm a little bit older and I have the kids and all that, so doing it is a little bit more difficult doing it that way. And but yeah, every time it's more like I took a plane ticket,
Mhm.
find like somebody to stay at for a few days, and rented a place, and just once I'm there, kind of grinding a bit, meeting as many people as you can. Cost me a lot of coffees with strangers, we'll say, to meet the right people and get
Yeah.
develop a little bit your network and all. But that's been what I did, and at the end of the day, worked most time.
In terms of just banking industry? Are there significant difference on how people practice their daily activities? Are there differences in the working culture? Um, all these type of things.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think I don't know if it's that much the difference, I would say, in the banking industry culture as
Uh-huh.
much as in the country overall.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say if you take France, for example, I worked at BNP Paribas in France I worked total for 3 years at BNP, but including 7 or 8 months in Paris.
Hmm.
And there was very much, I would say, but it's more the French way, I would say, like almost work hard, play hard kind of thing. Like people stay at work extremely late compared to the US. Like nobody really expect leaving the office at 8 or 8:30 is kind of normal,
Okay.
but you come in a little bit later, let's say, and usually as soon as you on your way out, you grab a couple of people, and everybody goes to the bars that are around it. So it's very much that attitude, like you spend a lot of time with the people that are at work, basically.
Yeah.
Asia, Singapore was a little bit different in the sense that you had a little bit of that same experience, but it's more maybe because I was abroad, but it was a little bit more community based, we'll say. Like, there was a big, let's say, French group, a big British group, a big local group, and all that, but there was not as much mixing between the different community, I would say. But work-wise was also very, let's say, was more what the same thing that you would see in the US, same type of hours, same time of type of expectations.
Yeah.
And the US, I mean, you're probably quite familiar with it now, even if you're in New York, I'm in Tampa, there's probably a little bit of cultural difference between the two, where here you really have a big like work-life balance, I would say, probably more than you have in France or even Singapore, where, it's not a bad thing if you say, hey, I have to go because I have something to do with the kids, or I have this kind of things. Like my outside life is calling me. Basically, it's not as much of a bad thing as in France. Also.
Got it. Cool. And when you're traveling between countries, have you ever encountered any, let's say, visa difficulties, anything like that?
So out of the 4 countries I mentioned, so England and China, I'm probably not sure I had the good visa in both of them, but I had smaller.
England will be so open to all European people.
In England, I mean, that was when I was younger, and you still have some restriction for work permit between France and the UK. They're not part of exactly the same, and now they're outside of the Europe. But you even always had some little restriction of work permit between France and the UK. China, like I said, was a little bit more like that. Singapore was very easy at the time. It might have changed, but actually you had a large inflow on people. Like it was almost funny to see. Like everybody will come, like I did, like as a tourist visa, and just meet people and look for a job, and then you'll get a job fairly easily. Like you would see every month, like couple of French people. I mean, when I say couple, it's like boyfriend, girlfriend coming, both finding a job within a couple of weeks. Like it was in the 3 years I've been there, probably I would say 15 couples like that, friends of friends, where the two found a job very easily, and everybody get their travel visa converted. So Singapore was very, very, very easy. The US, much more complicated, probably familiar with it. I'm not exactly sure how it works for most people, because I finished my university in the US, where I met my wife. So I came back in the US, not being married, but with like a fiancé visa.
Okay.
So we got married quickly, and then everything's much easier when you're married to a US citizen. So I wouldn't recommend people to get married for that, but that makes things easy.
Makes sense. Got it. And in terms of like language, are there any language barrier like in Asia, especially like mainland China, Hong Kong? I think Singapore is also fine, right?
Yes, I mean, Singapore, everybody speaks perfect English, not better than me. So it was easy for that. China was definitely challenging. The one thing is I was working for a French company, so you had a few people speaking French, and most of my work would be with either the French office or the other French in the office. You would have a few people in the office that would speak English, from the people from China. And when we really had to go visit like factories and go like really like outside, we usually would have an interpreter, like somebody would speak Chinese and French, or Chinese and English.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, for the everyday's life, definitely challenging. But that's the part that I like. That's the kind of thing that I was looking for. Is
that's your adventure.
Exactly. That's the adventure that you get. That's just going to the store is an adventure pretty much. So I love that part. Singapore, like I say, everybody speaks perfect English. The US is something I look like the guy who doesn't speak English because I have my fairly strong accent. But yeah.
Yeah. So let's say if people want to go to your home country in France to work as a foreigner. Do you have any recommendations? For example, what are the popular industries that most more foreigners may have opportunities? And would there be any significant barriers for foreigners to work in France?
In terms of barrier, I would say the language is going to be a big one. French people are fairly lazy about language. Even if they know some English, they're gonna try as hard as they can to not speak English.
I've heard about that.
So it's for my wife. Every time we go to France, it's a challenge. Like people definitely know what she's saying, but they're being French about it. So without any notion of the language, it's going to be difficult. But the popular industry, and the two more popular are going to be banking, like I'm saying, like you have a few French banks like BNP Paribas or Societe Generale, or that are pretty big compared to the size of the country. I guess it's still big in the finance industry, even if France is a fairly small country. The other thing is going to be everything that's luxury and cosmetic and things like that, where it's you have LVMH or LVMH, I guess in English, which is they have Louis Vuitton, they have L'Oreal, they have all those things, and that there's definitely in France the education system, you go through things that are called business schools, and you would have literally probably 25% of the people that end up in that type of industry, like cosmetic, luxury, and all that. You probably have 25% of people that end up in banking, 25% that's in consulting, like you have everywhere. You have KPMG, Deloitte, and all that. They're everywhere also, and the rest will be a little bit more different. But
cool.
Yeah, that's the main one.
Learn French first before planning to work.
Yeah, otherwise they're going to make your life like hell. The only other thing to keep in mind in France, France is a very centralized country. So most jobs are going to be in Paris. So you have to be ready to like Paris. It's one of the main reasons I don't live there. I'm not a big fan of Paris. It's special city. It's gorgeous to visit, but I don't necessarily enjoy living there. And outside of Paris, it's much harder.
Got it. Cool. If you have free choices now, you can carry your family everywhere and go for a new country for work. Where will be the next destination?
Probably South America, because that's one of the continents I haven't been to, and that was on my bucket list before I had kids. That's what I was like, okay, once I'm done with the US, I need to move maybe in Argentina or something like that. But see, now I'm old, so
you still have a chance.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I hope. Maybe once they move out, like in the.
All right, that's everything I want to ask today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Thanks for watching this episode. If you have any comments, suggestions, or if you're interested in any industry or country comparisons, please leave a comments below. I look forward to see you in the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.